videos lately. I am busy. Trying to get this project put together for a course. We're going to do some mild renovations. I shouldn't say mild. We're going to be doing some mechanical renovations in terms of turf, soil quality, greens, fairways, all the fun stuff, right? There was a lot of things we wanted to do, but unfortunately course conditions have presented us with a little bit different plan. Mother Nature's given us a different plan, and we have a lot to work on. Kind of give a background, this course is Bermuda. Our belief is it's Riviera, and we are in the transition zone, so I don't really feel like that's the greatest fit for here. There's better cultivars these days, but in this time that's probably why they selected it. It's not a bad grass, but it's not the best grass either. So what we're going to do today is kind of see where we're at. Unfortunately, those conditions aren't favorable, so we'll kind of talk about it. Alright, so it's the first week of May. Nobody really expects, Bermuda up here to be green yet, but it should be on its way. But what we can do is we can identify issues that we have. Unfortunately, those issues are pretty unique. So we have a pest problem. I would even go so far as to say this isn't a pest problem, this is just straight neglect. They should have never gotten like this. IPM, or Integrated Pest Management, you set thresholds that you and your membership and ownership can tolerate. There is always going to be some level of pest. How many or how much that affects your turf is completely up to you. Everybody's different. But in my opinion, I shouldn't see nothing but ant hills, grub damage, worm damage on a course. That's just, I expect some, but I shouldn't drive out to a fairway and I can see it from 50 yards away. There's no logical explanation. Now you can see we have some greenage, right? This is one of the better fairways, and this is kind of what you would expect everything to look like. This over here, this is greening up how I would kind of expect Bermuda this time of year in this area. That's fine. But that's not what we have everywhere else. So we're going to kind of identify some issues and go from there. We've got to get a game plan together because we're running out of time. So, like I said, this is one of the better holes. In terms of fairways, this is one of the better ones. I mean, a lot of what I'm seeing on this end isn't horrible. This is how I would expect it to green up. There are going to be some winter till. That's expected. But we're going to find out what we're looking at here. Alright, so this is hole 15. It's not great. Okay, this is a fairway. The best grass is in the rough. I don't really feel like you play a course expecting that the best grass is in the rough. We've got clover, poa, crabgrass, and there are some spots somehow of Bermuda. Now I understand this hole has a lot of drainage issues, but there's been no attempt made except in a patch up there where they overseeded cool season grasses just to get rid of bare dirt. Otherwise, to make this playable. I don't know about most people, but this is unacceptable. You can see deer traffic. Right there. To give you an idea, those are native wildflowers. Native wildflowers, goosegrass, crabgrass, all the stuff, right? Everything we combat in our yard on a golf course. Unacceptable. This has been dead for a while. All right. Now some of this Bermuda might come back, but that doesn't solve the issue of there not being any Bermuda on a third of this fairway. Just in general. It's not a solution. Like this is poor condition. The best grass is over here. That's not playable. There's a tee box there, but the rest of it isn't in play. I mean, I get it, there's been a lot of rain. I'm not making excuses for anybody. But I can tell you one thing about turf. Your effort shows up in the results. Okay, so kind of, like I said, this is a pretty sad case here. The new ownership is really disappointed in course condition. So we're going to do our best to help that out. Right now we're in the process of proposals. We kind of moved back and forth, and it's not cheap. I mean, the sad thing about turf is whether you put the money on the turf or not, that cost does come back around. And there's some really beautiful things about this course, but unfortunately, it's just been straight neglected for so long that it is in not great shape at all. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the things that are occurring here. So we're going to have to make some wholesale changes. That's in cultural practices. We're going to have to build a plan, and the plan's pretty simple. We got to get after this sooner than later. So, just kind of going around right now. I mean, I looked at it about a month ago, and identified some key focal areas and identified some points of could be issues. But now that things are actively growing, or should be actively growing, I'm really able to see those things come to light, and unfortunately it's not been great. Alright, so see these brown patches? It's just neglect. Now as we move, you're going to start seeing POA everywhere. It's just POA. The ring of POA. I get it, it's hard to combat sometimes. You can't get rid of all of it, I understand. But what we're seeing here is early drops with a mower. Early drops are a bad thing. That grass is now scalped. Right there. And that's an issue. And I'm seeing that on every green. Now, another thing I'm seeing that I really don't care for, right here. These are clippings, okay? This is absolutely unacceptable. You take a blower and you blow that off. But even furthermore, this issue doesn't exist if you just dump your baskets. Don't let the greens get too long. You see how long those clippings are? It tells me one of two things. They either let the grass get long, or, judging by what I'm seeing here, it got too long and they cut into the collars whenever they're mowing the greens. You can't do that. You really damage the turf. And these greens are not in great shape to begin with. They look okay, but that's kind of deceiving. There's at least an inch of thatch. Okay, so moving on, I mean, more early drops. And this hole could be beautiful. I mean, there's a little pond next to it. You're never going to make this place Augusta. They don't have that kind of a budget. But you can make this a really nice course. And that's my plan. We're going to give it a good shot. But we shouldn't have issues like this. What they don't understand is by leaving these clippings here, you not only create a potential thatch issue to further compound your issue, but if it had been hot, it has scorched this grass. It has stressed it. And I wouldn't complain if it was here and there, but it's on every green. Every single one of them. Not a single attempt was made to take care of that. We got early drops everywhere, late drops, I'd rather you miss a strip than to drop early or pull up late. And then again, like I said, man, this place is beautiful. It could be a really neat course, but we've got some work to do. I mean, we got dead spots. You know what that tells me? These aren't the first early drops. They've done this before. Those are scalps. That's where they've killed the turf. They've been doing this for a while. This isn't a new thing. And if you look, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, right along through here, you can see the ripples in the grass where it's a little darker, a little lighter. Well, it's the same thing. I see a lot of grass clippings. I'm not a huge fan of that. But once again, I'll be a little understanding. We've had a lot of rain. The weather hasn't been great. I understand this. But get a blower. Get the hurricane out. Blow these clippings off. This is not doing anybody any favors. It's aesthetically horrible. It's heinous looking. And furthermore, it doesn't do anything to benefit the grass underneath it. Clippings in general don't hurt anything. But what they do hurt are areas that it's weak. It's blocking sunshine, moisture, everything it needs, right? You put fertilizer over the top of that, you're pissing up a road. You're going to have stripes. All right, so I drove up here a little closer to it. But most of this they planted as bluegrass, which isn't a big deal with Bermuda. But the issue is they did it in the fairway. So now we're going to have a choice to make. Either make this blue Muta, which there really isn't a cultivar that I can get a hold of right now that's going to work. And I'll guarantee you this bluegrass isn't, and that's kind of what I mean by cultivar. I don't have really availability because I need a cultivar or bluegrass that can tolerate short cuttings. Guarantee you this here, you cut it below 2 inches and it's going to look yellow like the rest of it. So we're going to have to till this out or spray it. Just to sprig this and get it back to Bermuda. You know, you put, I hate to say it this way, but it's like putting a newspaper over dog shit. At the end of the day, it still stinks. Alright, so this is another example. Stop trying to grow grass where grass doesn't want to be. Alright. Goes right down through the middle of the fairway, right? Cool season will handle this. Doesn't like it, but it'll handle it. But the Bermuda, it's not going to tolerate being in the swamp. Now, the great thing about this is you have an opportunity to make a little bit of playability fun. You till 2 strips wide where this is at, the top of it. You plant cool season grasses. Or you figure out a way to drain this water somewhere. And about the only way to do that is to slope it more to where it feeds into the lake. That's not happening. And once again, you see some areas right here. You see some areas over here along the drip line. Bermuda's not going to handle that. Shape this fairway. Give it some character. Not every fairway has to be 8 miles wide and easy to play. Make it fun. Here's a great example of a fairway that's too wide. So if you look over here to the right, you've got trees blocking this area. Okay, it's not a landing zone, so why have any Bermuda there? There's no justifiable need for it. It's not a playability factor. If you hit into that tree, past that tree in any facet, you should be playing in the rough. You're never going to get Bermuda to grow consistently in areas like this. Once again, get rid of the Bermuda where the drain or the water drains in right through here. Go 120 inches on each side with cool season. Make it a playability factor. You hit it to that, fun. But shape this over here. We need to shape this around the drip line. There's no reason to have Bermuda behind a tree. Can't hit there, you don't need it. More money spent on sprigs, more time spent mowing, If there's anything you can neglect a little bit here and there, it's the rough. Why do you want to add more Bermuda to do it? Now, I'm sure some of you may have noticed a big thing that we're struggling with here is there's no cart paths. And that was kind of on the to-do list. Really a thing I felt like we needed to do. But the rest of the course kind of, budget-wise, tells us we need to do something else. We have other things that are priorities. Got to have grass to make the golf course. But here's a great example. So you see, in the drip line of this tree, there's dirt. No Bermuda. Just dirt. There's no need for it. Stop trying to grow it here. I would argue that you don't need Bermuda past this bush over here. Make it cool season. Just get rid of that. Tighten this up. Narrow this up. You got to penalize the golfer somewhere. It's not a big deal to hit out of some fescue or some bluegrass or whatever, but it's certainly a big deal when you can't grow Bermuda and that's what your fairways are, and then you just have no grass. There's very little Bermuda in this area. There's some over here. I'm not saying it's all bad, but most of it's gone. Which kind of further explain why this is infuriating. This is a Bermuda patch. It used to be, from what I understand, a nursery area. You notice how it's green? There's absolutely zero input on this. What this tells you is they cut it too short going into fall. Didn't have the nutrient it needed, and it went backwards. But there's absolutely no input on this. This is just Mother Nature. Once again, the laziness bucket. This is ridiculous. You want to know why you have a thatch problem? It's a cultural problem. You want to know why your greens are in horrible shape? This is why. You got genetic segregation here. About 2/3 POA. It's just unacceptable. That more early drops, late lift, whatever. Same difference. This has already died, and it's filling in with POA. We got more clippings. Another damage. Another damage. More damage. There are clippings all over the screen. Takes a minute and a half to hop off a mower, dump your clippings. Absolutely unacceptable. If you know better than that, stop mowing. Yeah, when you see this, people do pay for this. Ownership, they're great people, so don't judge them based on this, or otherwise I wouldn't be here. This is piss poor form, you ask me. I understand it's been raining, it's not been easy. This is just unacceptable. I've seen hayfields mowed better than this. Alright. Doing a little walk around. There's a head there somewhere, you know. There's probably a few more strung about. There's the fairway. That's what you want to call it. So he just came through while I was kind of working around and cut the collars. Now you'll notice you're going to see a bright green along this side here. Bright green there. It's bright green there. He let these get way too tall and then proceeded to cut them back at his normal height. And those bright green and yellow spots are going to be scalps. Some of it is POA. I should say a lot of the collar is POA, but that's beside the point. But he's made these collars extremely wide. Like, unreasonably wide. So they reach around, and he just kind of, like, out of sake of easiness, mowed it straight down. And that's fine and all, except when you leave that shit. So we're going to go up here and take a look at this. This fairway is rough. What are we doing here, guys? Looks like somebody drove a truck down through here. Tore it up. This is a known area that holds water, and for some reason someone had the bright idea to drive a truck down through here, or a rough mower. I don't know what it was exactly, but because they've got four-wheeler tires on mowers and all sorts of stuff. That's an issue. But I'm going to point something out that really bothers me. I'm a stiffler on clean equipment. I guarantee you, I don't know if it shows up, one of them's got a hydraulic leak of some kind. Something that bothers me about this is you've caused mechanical damage to a course. Alright, so this is a fairway. Again, it's dirt mostly. There's some Bermuda left, but man, it's not great. If we're going to have bunkers, we're going to maintain the bunkers. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Now, forgive my camera use here, but there's a few things I want to go over. I don't mind wide collars, I really don't. I really don't mind wide collars. But if we're going to have wide collars and you're going to let them get tall, bring a blower. Blow the clippings off. So we've got some things we're going to have to change internally too. That's unacceptable. This is what makes this project worth doing. This guy's on the board, they realize there's an issue, and he's out here doing something. So that's why we're doing it. Alright, so I've shown you this course. It's in poor condition. But the benefit here is they have an advantage that most people don't. The board cares, ownership cares, and they want to make it better. So that's what I'm here for. So we're going to get after this project here pretty quick, and we're going to make this right for these people. They deserve a nice course. They care, and that's all you can ask for. The people that are currently doing operations, or maintenance I should say, they don't care. But we're going to fix that. I can't do it all. I'm a one-man band, but I can do a lot. They're willing to give me the tools that that they have, and I'm willing to bring the tools I have, as long as we all have a good attitude about it, we should get some decent results. We're limited on the budget, so we'll see how far we can get it. But the plan is moving forward, we're going to do some more work next year too. This is going to be a year-long project, so stay tuned.